everybody. Thank you for being here today. I'm Robin Boyd, author of Kept Woman in the Grips of Obsession. And I'm here today to introduce you to Salma Khattab. She is a world renowned hypnotherapist and trauma specialist. And she's going to talk to us today about specific situations that happened in my book and the traumas and the things that led me to be able to deal with everything that I went through in my novel. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Selma. How are you?
Hi,
Thank you so much for being here today. I am so appreciative that you took the time out
Of
to
course.
talk with me today.
Of
Yes.
course. I would do it for
So
you anytime.
as you know, we have been working together for quite some time and we'll continue to. And I just want to let my listeners hear about some of the specific things that happened in the book that, the headspace that one would have to be in to be able to endure and function in those environments. So you know me personally now. We've been working together for a while, and you've read my book, so you've got another piece to the puzzle now. The plot thickens. wait, wait for part two.
I love
um,
reading it, and I can't
thank
wait
you.
to.
Yes, that's the general consensus that I'm getting. So it makes me feel good that I did put out a book that people can relate to and get energy from and want more. So first, I want to talk to you about in the book when I talked about being in college.
Mhm.
Okay, and let me just give the listeners just a little brief synopsis. So I went to college for a year. I set out for several years, and then I meet this Adonis, and he comes in on his white horse and helps me fix my life at that time. So he sends me back to college, and a year later, after we have developed this deep emotional connection, he goes away to prison for 12 years. And I
Mhm.
continued to function in college and endure what he was going through on top of things that happened to me previously before meeting him. It was just all one big, as they say, a hot mess. But can you tell the listeners, like, how how can someone function in that type of environment?
Robin, humans are, we have been given everything that we need to be able to function in any kind of environment. And
Mhm.
our subconscious mind and our nervous system will adjust to help us survive no matter what. And sometimes there are many different ways. And it could be in engaging with that environment, and it could be in completely dissociating from that environment. It could be in pretending that nothing that is happening exists. We can, from early years, childhood, take on an adult role and neglect completely our inner child and that we're children in order to be able to function and in order to be able to create order within the chaos. And so
Mhm.
I am never surprised. I'm always, in awe, but I am never
Mhm.
surprised anymore when I see people who have been able to succeed and to push through and to accomplish great things despite everything that they have been that they had gone through or are currently going through. And
Mhm.
that's what I've seen that, you the story here, you are brilliant. Your brilliant mind is taking over and
Mhm.
making things happen despite all the things that logically we would say, wait, how could this work? How could this
Mhm.
person survive? How can this person still succeed? But it's really a testament to what the creator has given each of us.
Mhm. And then to take it a step further, so he goes away to prison for the 12 years. While he's there, You know, when people are in prison, they don't think that you're going through anything. They're the only one who has a pity party every day. So he verbal abuse, accusations, um, all of his frustrations were taken out on me.
Mm.
So college, his endured what he's going through. And then I had my own set of things I was going through prior and while he's going through what he's going through, such as, I don't really want to use this word, but I'm going to say it, loneliness. I like
Mhm.
being alone. I like being at home alone, nobody else. I love it. Okay. When people come around, I'm just like, oh my God, when are they leaving? But I don't know if that's the right word, loneliness. I just had severe separation anxiety from him.
Yeah.
Severe.
Yeah.
And um, the fear of the unknown, because initially he was trying to get out early and, just waiting, anticipating for all of that, and knowing a part of his sentence was that he was to be deported after he gets out. So, all while we're planning all that time for this exodus from the United States.
Yeah.
So, I don't even know how I did it. I really, if I had to tell someone step by step how I did it, I could not even tell you.
It's always, I find it very interesting, the people that we bond with. I mean, some
Hmm.
people have very deep bonds with, but it's not, um when I work with people and I do these regressions and we get to the root cause, we can actually understand that the person that you've bonded with is the person that you needed in childhood. When you
Hmm.
have childhood,
Mm.
the parents that were there, whoever was supposed to be that figure for you, was
Hmm.
unable to play that role. And
Hmm.
a lot of us as children, we become parentified. We take on the role of that adult, but our inner child is abandoned. Our inner child is still seeking
Mm.
for that parent, for that caregiver, for that person that I could completely rely on, the person that can save me. And sometimes we also develop, with dissociation, especially, we're looking for that person that can come on that white horse and take us out of our environment.
Yeah.
So we seek that and we attract that person. And when we
Mm.
do, when we meet that person, we bond.
Hmm.
We bond
Okay.
as strongly as we would bond with a parent, because it's
Hmm.
not my conscious self that's bonding, it's not my adult self that's bonding, it's my inner child that finally found their
Mm.
person. And so, just as children can wait forever and ever and ever on a parent, we can
Hmm.
do that for that person that we have given that role, that we have seen in that role. Now, of course, I'm not saying that it's not a true love or anything like this. Many
Oh no,
times,
I didn't take it that way. Yeah. Yeah.
however, that is part of what makes it so strong. And from his side as well,
Hmm.
you will be giving him what he needed, what he needed,
Hmm.
and he did not find in those
Yeah.
early childhood years. So, because
Mm.
of that, it becomes unbreakable.
Boy, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. I'm thinking about some things that I can't talk about now because they're in book two. But that was a little teaser, so you got to make sure you read book two. So, yeah, it's oh man, that inner child. We all think that's means nothing, but boy, it all stems from there.
Yeah.
So, how can working with you with your trauma therapy help our listeners rewrite, their reclaim their power and rewrite their narratives in their lives?
Yeah. It's We have to start by first recognizing that what we've experienced is important to acknowledge and to validate. What we've
Mhm.
experienced was real for that version of ourselves. And once we validate that part of us that was unheard, unseen, that felt like they were alone completely to to fight off all the demons and to bring order and chaos, that part, once we take it into our arms and we do that little work of reconnecting with it, giving it a voice, hearing it out, letting it express that story. Once you've expressed that story, and we're able to nourish it and to hear it and see it and validate it, then it can calm down. And then you have to we realize we realize that the person that is reliving the story now, that keeps telling the story now, the story that happened 40, 50 years ago, that person is an adult. And so you will never we won't be able to change our parents. We will never be
Yeah.
able to go back and to change exactly what has happened to us. But what we can do is start taking ownership. So I am the adult now, and I get to take care of me. I get to replace my mother and my father. I get to depend on me. I get to give myself to meet all of my needs. And once we're able to build this relationship, to see myself as the adult that I've always needed, the savior that I was always looking for, and to connect
Mm-hmm.
with my inner child, then immediately that story loses its hook on me, its grasp on me. It doesn't become
Mm-hmm.
something that overwhelms my body. It doesn't become something that drives my subconscious patterns. It doesn't become something that keeps attracting um, unavailable people into my life and so on. It loses all that power, and I am now in the driver's seat, and I get to create the life that I want. I get to choose the beliefs that I want. I get to choose the behaviors that I want, and I am able to do that because now I am in the driving seat. Before, who was in the driving seat? It's that little child, that little
Mm-hmm.
child. Because even in your story, the person who's the adult who was in college, she was
Mm-hmm.
a little kid. We don't see it as such. We see it, oh, as she's an adult now, but actually it's still the little kid that's running the show. And the same
Mm-hmm.
with your partner. It's still the little kid that's running the show. But once we are able to do that work on the
Mm-hmm.
subconscious level, on the emotional level, on the energetic level, which we can do, I mean, even in one session, you see massive results with that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you create that connection, and then now you're in the driver's seat. Once you're in the driver's seat, I ask you, well, where do you want to go from here?
Yeah.
And then we work on that. Where do you want to go beyond the breakthrough, beyond the breakdown, beyond those stories? And one of the most important things I always love to tell people is that we are more than this personality that we thought was ours. Our personality was only just practiced manifestation of these stories and these beliefs. But now, once you realize that you don't need those old beliefs and you don't really need those old stories, you are free to choose the personality that you want. And you are free to express yourself authentically and wholly in so many different ways that you did not think were available to you.
Mhm. Yeah. So in that, what are some of the misconceptions that you encounter that for individuals about trauma therapy? You know, some people are like, oh, that doesn't work, or that doesn't mean anything, or that's not going to work on me, kind of thing.
So I have to say that there are lots of modalities out there that are not
Hmm.
suitable for trauma. They are not.
Hmm. Yeah.
I personally believe talk therapy is not suitable. When we go to a traditional therapist, when the idea of the session is just telling the story, retelling the story, you are doing it and you're putting your entire body. Your body cannot tell that the story happened 30 years ago. Your body, when
Hmm.
you're telling the story, it thinks that it's happening right now, and you're
Mm.
the trauma, and your brain is releasing all of those chemicals into your body again, so you're actively dysregulating yourself every time you tell that story. And then the 50-minute sessions usually is over, and what are you left with? You're left with overwhelm. You feel triggered, you are activated, you're dysregulated, and you need to wait until next week for the next session to tell a little bit more of that story. All this time, you're not even getting. So, not every modality And not every therapist is going to be trained to deal with this trauma, because the best thing that you can do is to figure out a way to begin releasing the trauma without having to talk about it first. You release it from your body. And then once you are in maybe a different kind of state, which is something that we can induce with hypnosis, you're able to tell that story without activating your nervous system, without reliving the trauma, without adding more and more of these chemicals into your body. And when you're able to
Mhm.
do that, and it's so much easier to get to the root cause, it's so much easier to change the story, to let go of it, and to upgrade that inner child without accumulating more trauma in the process. So that's
Mhm.
something that I would like to say. Does trauma therapy work? Yes, 100%. And it does not need to take
Yes,
long.
1000%. Yes.
You do not even
Yes.
need to tell your story. And that's also something, a lot of times people don't want to share these details. There's still a lot of guilt, there's still a lot of shame, they're still not feeling confident to share what happened. There are tools and there are modalities that I am trained in, I'm sure other practitioners are trained in, where you don't even need to talk about the story at all. So, in
Mhm.
order to begin the healing process, and for some people, it's needed. So, there are no excuses. The only thing that you need to make this work is to believe that it's time. I want to make it work, and therefore, and it will work. This is the belief. If you tell your subconscious mind that you are ready, everything, your mind, your body will be ready. It will, you don't even really, I mean, I have my sessions maybe in 3 hours
Mhm.
transformations. It could be in 30 minutes transformation. It could be in 5 minutes transformation. Why?
Mhm.
Because it's just the power of that belief and that readiness. So I can help you get ready for that. I can, I have my ways, but you need to go to the person that has these tools and is trained in
Mhm.
these modalities, so that there is no excuse and you start right now.
I'm living proof of everything that she just said, everybody. But the it doesn't have, you don't fix yourself overnight, and we're going to continue to work together, but she has done wonders for me, as I stated in my introduction, in my life and in my business. I just, we're running out of time here, so I want to just ask you one last question. And it's the title of the book, Kept Woman. Some people thought that meant kept by, some man is taking care of you or something like that. But what it really means to me, and why I named the book this title, is being kept by God. And I can see after everything that I was going through, every time, how I was kept, and whatever that looked like, kept from this, kept from going over here or doing this, or for not making a situation worse, whatever that looked like for me personally. And that's why I named the book Kept Woman. But what does that mean to you, Kept? What does
Uh,
that phrase mean
I,
to you?
I mean, I am part of this interview today because of Kept Woman, because of the meaning, your meaning, because I completely agree with this. We are all kept by God. We think that we are alone. We think that everything that's happening, that we've been abandoned, that we've been neglected, that we've been made to suffer, and we don't realize that every single part of that story was was being supported. We were supported even in the experiences where we felt they were the worst experiences. We were actually being supported in those experiences. We've been carried. Sometimes God's way is so subtle, we don't see God, but He is there taking care of us and moving us forward and giving us the tools that we need. I want to ask every woman that's listening to this that has experienced trauma, and trauma, it's something, it's very sensitive, and I know in certain states we feel like this definitely should not have happened. But after you have overcome the trauma, after you have recovered and you have experienced the value and the greatness within you and the power within you as a result of this experience, I want to ask you, who would you have been if those were not your parents, if this was not your upbringing, if you did not experience all of these things, you may be comfortable, may have been comfortable, but would you have been as great as you are now, as powerful as you are now? And most importantly, would you be wanting to lead a movement? Would you have this motivation and this drive now to change the world, to help others, if you had not experienced these certain things yourself? So I believe in the greater good. I believe that everything that happens to us is happening for this greater good, not just for ourselves, but for all of us. And so we are being trained. By the time that we're 40 years old, we have gone through a whole lot of training to make us into these um, warriors, and to be able to change the world, to be able to help people, to lead these movements, to inspire, to be able to connect deeply with our empathy, with our sensitivities, with the stories of others, so that we could help others to move forward as well and to do God's work. And so that's what it means to be kept woman movement. It's this realization that I was never alone, and that it was all intentional. And this is not just some positive psychology. This is something that I have seen with my clients time and time again. We start off with our client, with my client or anyone, feeling in the dark night of the soul, in this complete breakdown, feeling small, helpless, powerless, shame, guilt. And then by the end of it, by once you cross that bridge from breakdown to breakthrough and beyond, once you get to that beyond stage, they are powerful servant leaders. They want to do so much more, and they believe in their power that is connected to the power of God. And they have a vision, they have a mission, and they can handle anything. And they are true leaders at the end of it. And so I see that, and this is why I support your movement, and I support you sharing your stories, and I support these conversations that you're leading now.
Oh, thank you so much. I really, I have been a crusader almost all of my life, trying to help people and be down for the cause. It's sometimes it goes unnoticed and not received. But in my later years, yes, everybody rallies around me. I'm the nucleus that holds a group together. I have different cliques, if you want to say cliques, but yes, I recognize that I am chosen to be a leader and to help, and whatever that help looks like. And yeah, I recognize that. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I said that in the beginning, but I'm just like in awe of you right now. So I'm kind of speechless. I just think you have so much to give and to help someone through um what they're going through. Even today, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen that are listening, I did not even want to be on videos before, and now it's like I don't care. What difference does it make to me? And so I owe all of that to her. It sounds so small, but it's not. It's a lot of backstory that goes along with that. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Call her, everybody, because she can help you. Everybody's going through something. Everybody went through something. And also, make sure you pick up a copy of my book. It's also available in Audible, on Amazon, in English and Spanish. And get ready and gear up for part 2. And email me, text me, DM me any questions you have, or if you want to be a part of Kept Woman Conversations and our movement. And I look forward to seeing and speaking to you all. Thank you.